Just when we think we might be taking a step back here at La Palma, the sun reminds us who's in charge here. As yesterday afternoon, we had an X-class explosion off the surface of the sun, one of the biggest we've seen in years. The interference caused by a flare of this size can affect the Earth in many negative ways. We're going to talk about that in a second, but what about La Palma? A lot of eyes on La Palma this morning after this major flare has taken place to see what this is going to do to the volcano itself. We're going to break this down as well as the most recent information on La Palma. Glad to be back, my friends, and we're going to do it right here, right now. Let's go. My friends, welcome back. October 29th, 2021, 8:54 a.m. And this is a very interesting situation, and the timing of it couldn't be any worse when it comes to La Palma and the threats that it poses on its own, let alone when we have the addition of an X-class solar flare. Now, for those of you that don't know what an X-class flare is or how powerful it is or what it can do, well, I'm going to try to explain that right now. A solar flare is a sudden flash of increased brightness on the sun, usually observed near its surface. Powerful flares are often but not always accompanied by a coronal mass ejection. And you're going to notice that's exactly what we got. What an amazing sight coming off that southern half of the sun, but Earth facing. So that's what's important here. This thing is directly coming towards Earth. And now the effects of these solar flares are what's important. Now, being that this is an X-class flare, one of the strongest we can even have, that makes it dangerous right off the bat. With the amount of radiation, solar particles, basically a solar storm, rushing towards Earth at 1,000,000 miles an hour, our Earth's defense shield is basically a giant magnet, as you can see on this graph, and once that wave of energy hits, it is tested. These large solar flares are often accompanied by radio blackouts, cell phone errors, all sorts of electronic glitches, and yes, it has been known to affect seismic activity, especially at weaker areas. Now, the energy from this solar flare is expected to hit Earth on Halloween evening, and also we need to take into account what part of the Earth is facing the sun at the time that the energy starts to hit Earth's defense shield. Now, this will tie into La Palma, and I'm saying this because it has been a very common theme when we get these large solar flares that they are followed by some significant seismic activity and or pressure release, which is in the form of volcanoes and earthquakes. I am not a seismologist, but I can recognize patterns, and for years now, whenever we have big solar flares, we have an uptick in seismic activity. In my opinion, there's no doubt that the sun and solar flares and CMEs and the solar radiation, the extra pressure and solar particles on the Earth absolutely affect earthquakes and volcanoes. And being that we're in a vulnerable spot with La Palma right now, what are the chances we get one of the biggest solar flares in years while one of the baddest volcanoes is currently going off and getting stronger? And you can actually see right here that the Canary Island chain, specifically the La Palma area, has been blowing back up with earthquakes. We had one calm day yesterday, and then as if that never happened, we are right back to where we were just a few days ago. High magnitude 3 earthquakes, and we are now back into the 4.0 range after 2 days ago where we hit our 5.0 earthquake, downgraded to a 4.8 with a day of a break in between, and then right back to the 4.2s and the 4.0s. Today's top stories on La Palma talk mostly about the ash advisories, and I believe that's because we had the day of weaker earthquakes, but now that that's picking up, it will be the talk of the town once again, especially if that solar flare happens to hit Earth around that area if it is facing the sun at that time. My friends, it's going to be a very interesting few days to see the effects of the sun on the Earth itself, specifically La Palma, and the auroras we're going to get up by the north and south poles. For those of you that live in northern Canada and places like that, you often get spectacular views of these northern lights, and they're going to be something to see this time. My friends, I appreciate your time. I hope everyone's doing well. Again, I am posting this from Canada. I'll be here through Halloween. I hope you are all well. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll be back tomorrow with another update on La Palma, or if anything significant happens before then, I'll be here sooner. Thank you all so much. Take care. Bye-bye. Stop right there, my friends. If you have not already, click that subscribe button and don't forget to hit the bell icon. Click all and you will get all notifications from this channel. And trust me, you won't be disappointed.